So I looked through all of the papers that you submitted. For the most part, pretty thorough. They were very good. I didn't see any that were like really out there as far as this shouldn't be done. Remember the key things that we had last time where we wanted to have 3 topics, 5 facts for each, an image for each one, and then a resolution, like what should someone do for this. Some people went a little bit too much on there. So this is one for anxiety, and keeping in mind that the end result is going to be 30 seconds, this is a lot of information to try to cram into 30 seconds, okay? So you don't want to have too much information. If you look at any of the videos that are out there, you'll see that a lot of them are very straightforward. Here's one for tailgating, which is not like tailgating at a party. It's like driving too close to someone. 23% of all motor vehicle crashes are rear-end collisions, 2,000 deaths and 950,000 injuries every year. Takes traveling, blah, blah, blah. Takeaway, keep your distance, okay? So with this one, it's very simple. Here's the problem, which is tailgating. Here's the different facts that are about it, and then here's the resolution. Very quick, boom, boom, boom. It also has numbers and something that's very easy to visually see. So as you're creating yours, you definitely don't need numbers for everything. Like this one down here that says clickbait is used for identity theft. There's no number specifically attached to that, but I have to create some sort of visual to associate with that. I have to create some way for me to connect this information with something the person is seeing so that it makes sense for them. Same thing here, easy to push fake or twisted news, waste your time, and then takeaway is to read more, right? So in some instances you will have things that have numbers attached to them. Numbers are very easy to show off. If you look at any infographics, you'll see that a lot of infographics will use numbers because they're very easy to give information. Here's 117 million people. Here's 8 and 10. Here's billions. Here's a graph showing different numbers here. Here's 59 healthy eating score, different age groups and different percentages. Here's more with money. Here's another one, 1 billion, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 50%, 466. So numbers are really easy to do because it's basically like the number is like the major fact with it. When you do a graphic for something, where'd my PDF go? When you do a graphic used for identity theft, our graphic, just like the number, has to be very short and concise and show exactly what we're trying to show off, and not like a bunch of unnecessary information. So, looking at all the ones that I saw, they were very good. Go through and refine now. So go through and grab out the 3 or 4 or 5 facts from the topic that you choose. So if you have one that is, let's say, clickbait, then you're going to go through and verify that all of your topics for this are short enough that they could be just like given as information. You also want to put them in an order that you can go from this area to this area to that area. Like what makes the most sense? Does it make most sense to say 27% of all motor vehicle crashes end in rear-end collision, and then jump to wet roadways, and then jump to it takes vehicle traveling 60 miles, and then jump to the first 60 feet, and then jump to that? Yes, sir. You showed me yours in class. I was fine. So, yeah, you just have to have them. You want to put it in some order of how you're going to show off this information. So if you have these 5 things, you're going to say, I have this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and I'm going to start off with my video doing these 3. I'm going to see where my time is at. If I have time, I'll add the 4th one in there. If I have time, probably won't, but I'll add the 5th one in there. It really depends on the kind of information that you have as to what you're trying to show off. Something like this one, the first 60 feet is the time it takes you to realize that you need to stop. So in order for me to visually create that, I need to show a car or something driving, see something happening, and I have 60 feet in order for that to happen, or some way to kind of show off that information. Same thing here. It takes a vehicle traveling 60 miles an hour, a minimum of 240 feet to come to a safe stop. So I have to be able to show off that information. Numbers are really quick because I can just say 23% and rear end collision, boom, and then move on. Something like that might take a little bit longer. All right, so everyone's may have 3 at the minimum for sure. You may have 4, you may have 5. And then, of course, you'll have your takeaway at the end. This takeaway typically will be on screen for a few seconds so that whoever is reading it, that's the lasting message that's in there. So the other one, it's like, here's some information, now here's more information, now here's more information, and then the last bit is, now do this, okay? So your next step in this is to do that, or pick one of these that you have in your list, organize them, and then start writing a little script of how it's going to be played out, okay? Even if you don't have a voiceover in your end result, you will have a voiceover in how you start up this process, okay? So to move to the scripting part when you're doing it, it's going to be a side-by-side. You're going to be recording your script as you're going and timing it out. That way you can see exactly how long stuff is going to take. Adobe comes with this audition program. If you've never used it, I'm just going to briefly show how it's used. I typically use this for all of my voice recording applications. There's other ones here, voice recorder, like Windows has. Your phone actually has an app for voice recording. You want to use something professional though, so use this. So in Audition, I would make a new audio file. Call it whatever, take one. Don't worry about the sample rate too much. If you do want to use this as a final product, you would go with something like 48,000. You would not want to go with 16,000, okay, or 44.1. So I'll leave it at 48. I'll leave it at stereo, and 32 is fine. Okay, so you just hit the record button. It's going to start recording as you're talking. My microphone isn't set up through this, so I don't see anything happening. So let's go to my preferences and audio hardware, and we'll see if we can not screw anything up. Default input is that, yes. And my output is my headphones, yes. Okay. All right, let me hit record again. All right, so now that I'm recording, you can see my waveform being created. So what I want to do is I want to go through and read my script that I have. So even if it's a rough script, that's fine. Write it out, read your rough script so that you can see how long 30 seconds is. Feel the timing of 30 seconds. So when I'm looking at, oops, delete that. When I'm looking at this one, I'm going to hit the record button. I would say tailgating. Tailgating contributes to 2,000 deaths and 950,000 injuries every year. I pause so that I'm not jumping right into the next one. And then I would say it takes vehicles traveling at 60 miles an hour at least 240 feet to come to a safe stop. Wet roads can take up to 4 times as long for the vehicle to stop. To prevent this, keep your distance while driving behind people. Okay, now that, obviously, I stumbled through it, but that was just over 30 seconds. So now what I can do is I can go through this and find out stuff that did work, stuff that didn't work. So I'm going to hit play on this, just a space bar like After Effects. All right, so obviously that was not good, so let's delete that. We just highlight it and delete it. That was way too fast, so I need to slow that down. And then I can delete that because that's nothing. I'm using my scroll wheel to zoom in. I'd probably re-record that whole thing, so let's just highlight this. Let's see. All right, so that whole one is a screw-up one there. So I'm going to go and record a new one. Let's see, I want to skip selection. So I would say it again. It takes a vehicle traveling 60 miles an hour a minimum of 240 feet to come to a safe stop. Delete the garbage. And then I'm going back and looking for how this is paced out. Cut that part out. So you'll see with just the two facts, I have this is about 5 seconds here, this is about 10 seconds. Adding in the graphics, this definitely is going to be really close to 30 seconds. Okay. So if I needed to, let's say I needed to add more space here, I can just click anywhere where I need more space. Come on. And go to Edit, Insert, Silence. And then I can put in how much silence I want. I want 2 seconds, I want 3 seconds, whatever it is. And now I'll get 3 seconds of silence added right there. Okay? You have to allow for your transitions. You have to allow for a good, steady speech. If it feels too rushed, it's not going to work. Okay? Like I said, you may not use the speech part for your actual animation at the end, but it's still good so that as you have those things laid out verbally, you can just start animating your stuff right to it. Okay? And then the last thing that you can start doing is looking at different images that you're going to use and then different color schemes. So for this one that says 23% of all motor vehicles crashed are rear-end collisions, I can start creating the animation or the graphics for it. Okay? Not the animation yet, but just simply creating the graphics. What items would I need for this? For 23% of all motor vehicle crashes, do I want to have a car in there? Do I want to have a graph? Do I want to have whatever? Same thing here, 2,000 deaths, 950,000 injuries. How do I want to showcase that? Infographic on death. Oh, not that one. Okay, so here's different ones for, you know, not specifically death, but different ones you could use, more numbers. Look around at different infographics. Look around at different social media things. I wanted this view image. There we go. So sometimes people will do these little people things. So I need to draw out that little person. If I'm showing, let's say, in some cases, women, then I would obviously want one symbol for women maybe and one symbol for men if I need that. I also want to pick colors. You can see on this infographic we basically have one main color, which is red. White is the main text color. Gray is just the shade of the black or the dark gray. Okay, so there's one like main color and the rest is just white and gray. And then I also want to look at fonts. You obviously want to pick fonts that match what you're trying to show off. If it's something serious, obviously you don't want to pick a silly font or something that's very scripty. Anything you choose, if the text is coming out fast, you have to have something bold. You have to have something people can read. You don't want to have something that is too much text because people can't read it. I had one. Okay, so that's the next step. When we come in Monday, we're going to start the next project, which is not going to be this. We're just going to continue working on that. When you come in Monday, you should have those things set up. You should have a script. You should have some of the graphics started. You don't have to, all the graphics started or completed, but you should have at least some of the graphics started. You should have your fonts and your colors also chosen as well. For any of these, if you're not sure, like how do I choose fonts, how do I choose colors, how do I live without you? That's what it said. How do I choose fonts for design? How do I choose colors? Okay, so look up those things. You'll find them out very easily. 6-minute video, 3-minute video. Cool. All right.
You're gonna make a video for that?
For me?
Are you gonna make a video?
This I'm making a video for. Yeah, this one I have a video for, but I'm not doing one on color because there's a million videos for color out there. Okay, so we have an idea of what we're working on, what we're working towards. Yes, no?